Hey everyone, this is Brian at F Studios again, and this is, I think, part 5 of the St. Agnes mixing sessions. Um, so to bring you up to speed, if you haven't been watching the videos already, what I've done so far is I've taken this basic multi-track, the stems that they made during this recording, and I think there were like 23 or 25 different tracks, and I was able to group them down to where I only have to work with 13 tracks. At that point, I started going through and just doing some basic adjustments for getting, just level and a little bit of EQ, maybe a little bit of dynamics, and just to get an idea of what's really what. And just kind of get an idea for how the sound is going to be with what I'm working with right away. And then just started cleaning up some tracks, like throwing in some gates on the guitar, the keyboard, and the bass guitar track, because there was a lot of ambience being picked up from those mics that were used simply because this is a live recording in a small club. Based on just what I calculated out with the distance between the with the amount of time it takes for a transient to reach, say, like the snare drum mic to the back room mics, it's about 40 something like 42 or 47 milliseconds. I think it was 42 milliseconds or somewhere in that neighborhood. And it told me that the room that they're in is really no more than about 47 feet deep, at least from what their stage is and where their back mics were compared to where the drums were and things like that. So it's not a big room. Lots of bleed on the mic, so I did use a lot of gates on the instruments. The drums themselves are left open, except for had to do some cleanup I had to do some cleanup work on the low floor tom, because its resonance frequency was in the same general area as the resonance of the kick that I boosted, and that made the kick come through much stronger on the left-hand side than it was on the right-hand side. So to even that out, I had to clean up the floor tom track, and I did it through just editing. After editing, I thought to myself that I could have done that a lot faster if I just would have gated that as well, or used a compander and used the tail end on that to act as a gate. But anyway, what's done is done. Now we're actually just kind of looking for what to really do with the track now. I mean, we got basic levels set, but what about the more creative part? I mean, this part here would be where I would normally bring in the artist and say, okay, this is where we're at the moment. This is how it sounds, with everything all kind of cleaned up and getting good levels set and good dynamics. But now what about the creative aspect of the mix? Adding in what kind of effects and what kind of changes you want throughout the song. That's where we're at right now. I'm not really sure what to do with it at the moment. I'm kind of just thinking about it and experimenting a bit. Hopefully, I'll get an idea at this time or during this session. But we'll see. We'll just have to play with it and see how it goes, since I don't have anybody to give me feedback about what they want done with their track here. There is something else I do want to try. I want to do a bit of parallel compression with the snare track. I want to have a much harder compressed snare channel than what I've got, just to see what it does. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and run that right now and get that all set up. Okay, so that has been recorded. So I'm going to go ahead and recall the original scenes. And I'm just going to play the track now and slowly bring up that compressed track to see how it blends in. low pass filter on it. Run a gate on it now. So I'm gonna have it side chained to the original snare track. So just doing what I did there, it adds a little bit, not a whole lot. I'll do an A-B here for you guys and let you hear what it's actually going to be like. This is without the compressed track. This is with it. All right, let's go ahead and turn everything on, and we'll show you what it is. We'll show what it's like. This is without. This is with it. I don't know, it adds a little more aggressiveness to the snare, I think. Kind of liking it like that. Let's go ahead and check it out from the beginning again. Still getting some pretty decent separation. The hi-hat's more over on the right than it is on the left, so that's good. Good for this.
Across the room, you move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you move. You move like a ghost. You move like a ghost across the room. You move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you breathing. I hear you breathing. I hear your bones creaking. Go to the touch, it's like the moon. You go to the touch, but when I go to catch.
So right now I'm running just a room reverb on the snare and the toms and a little bit on the guitar and keyboard. I'm not really sure that's exactly where I want to keep things though. Let's go ahead and back this thing up, and I'm going to turn those all off and just listen to everything dry. Okay, so the keyboard definitely sounds like it needs something. It needs to fill this thing up. I mean, basically, we still are sounding like we're just recording in a small live room in a club somewhere. Even though I've got everything set up to where you don't hear a lot of the ambience from the room itself come through anymore, it still just doesn't have that fullness to it. So I'm going to try to work on something there. Like I said, in the beginning, this track is predominantly a drum and groove kind of thing with vocals on it. The guitar pieces, the bass pieces, the keyboard pieces, they're not the big elements to this track. But I still want to have a nice, I guess, fat production off of just what I've got to use here. So I've got to see what I can do to make this thing fill up. I mean, right when the drums come in, I mean, that's not bad. I like that. I like the guitar scratching off on the left side with it. I do like that. Okay, so there's something going on right there. I'm going to A-B this out here. Just do a repeat section here. So I still want that tom, that floor tom there to hit with just more energy, more pronounced. With the dynamics on there and the EQ on there, there's not really a lot more I feel I can do to make it come out more, that resonance. But I might be able to find a setting in the effects that could do that. Let's see, the floor tom is channel 6 again. So we'll do 6, turn those back on. We'll just solo out 6. Okay. That added some boom, some resonance there. Let's turn everything back on and see what that does. I'm actually going to back it up a little more to start the A-B repeat. Really helped out. Let's try again. Let's see what happens if I keep turning it up. That's too much. Maybe right there. Now, if you're wondering what that is, what I did, that's just a dynamic phaser. And I've just turned up the controls, the auxiliary output to that effect, just enough that when the floor tom hits, it's going to give me that low resonance from the phaser to add in there with it. And I'm going to see if I can just adjust the settings on that a bit. Ugh. Well, after playing with it for a little bit, it sounds okay. It does add some extra wump to that low end resonance there. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of leave it off to the side a little bit. Well, basically just kind of forget about it for now, and see what else is going on here. Okay, how about the keyboard? What can we do with the keyboard? Can we wet it up? I don't know. Let's find out. Nah, that's not good for that one. Let's try something different. Better, much better. Just a plain old rotary.
You move like a ghost. You move like a ghost across the room. You move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you move.
So the keyboard needs a rotary. What about the guitar though? What should be done with that guitar? Let's go ahead and bring that back.
You move like a ghost. You move like a ghost across the room. You move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you move. You move like a ghost. You move like a ghost across the room. You move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you breathing. I hear you breathing. You move like a ghost. You move like a ghost across the room. You move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you move. You move like a ghost. You move like a ghost across the room. You move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you breathing. I hear you breathing. I hear your bones creaking. Go to the touch, go to the touch, it's like the moon. You go to the touch, but when I go to catch you, I fall right through you. I you so cool, I you so cool to me. I you so cool, you really don't have to be. You really don't have to be. You're so busy making enemies. I hear you, I hear you.
I think an early reflections setting, I mean just as a preset just sounds the best so far with the guitar. I mean there's probably more that can be done with it, but right now I'm just trying to get the basics handled on this and see what it's going to sound like. So in that case, maybe now is when I should start actually putting the pieces together for this creative part of the mix. Excuse me. The track is called "You Move Like a Ghost" or something like that, and of course I'm just basing that off the title, or I'm basing that off of what they're saying in the fucking song. And I think how we build the effects and how it's mixed around just a static mix should be based off of what the song is about, the story. So since it's supposed to be about somebody, something, or whatever, he moves like a ghost. Supposed to be ghost. Should have some kind of effects in there that not are constant, but just kind of come in at time to time that give some kind of inclination when we hear it that it adds to the ghostly theme or whatever of this track. Like reversed reverbs, things like that. And we'll just see what I can do with it. So to start out, the idea I have is basically I am going to have this thing set up in blocks, and I'm going to recreate some scenes for this guy. So the first scene is going to be what we heard right from the beginning with how the drums come in and the keyboards and stuff. Go ahead and just do a test on that first scene, and of course we've heard it a million times already, but it's where the drums come in right at the beginning, up to the keyboard track. Bring in that rotary. Okay, we should have something on the guitars for that part too. So let's go ahead and go back into that section. I think I like it right there. So that's what I'm going to store for the scene. I'm going to go ahead and write it down what the scene is. Just intro is what it could be. That's good enough. All right, so from this point, the guitar piece is going to get that early reflections reverb.
Across the room, you move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you move. You move like a ghost. You move like a ghost across the room. You move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you breathing. I hear you breathing. I hear your bones creaking.
So, to make this easier on me in the long run, I'm going to go ahead and save this guitar setting with how it's all done here. Let's see, it's on channel 10 again. Okay.
cold to the touch. You're cold to the touch, just like the moon.
Okay, in this section, we have that track that was the male vocal recorded onto what they called the effects mic, and it was supposed to be more of just a mid-range kind of a track. I'll solo it out here and let you hear it.
You come to the touch, you come to the touch, it's like the moon. You come to the touch when I go to catch you, I fall right through you.
Okay, I want to make that more pronounced. So first I'm going to add some dynamics to it.
You come to the touch, it's like
And
the
it's
moon.
just going to get squished hard.
You come to the touch when I go to catch you, I fall right through you.
Go ahead and repeat that.
You come to the touch, you come
To
to
the
the
touch, just like the moon.
You come to the touch when I go to catch you, I fall right through you.
All right, so I think it needs more mid-range. But to start, I'm actually going to roll off frequencies and see how that affects everything.
You come to the touch. You come to the touch, just like the moon.
You come to the touch when I go to catch you, I fall right through you.
You come to the touch. You come to the touch, just like the moon.
You come to the touch when I go to catch you, I fall right through you. You come to the touch, you come to the touch, it's like the moon. You come to the touch when I go to catch you, I fall right through you. You come to the touch,
You come to the touch, just like the moon.
you come to the touch when I go to catch you, I fall right through you. You come to the touch,
You come.
Okay, I think for starters, I liked how that is, so I'm going to save that as a preset for the effects vocal.
To the touch, just like the moon.
you come to the touch when I go to catch you, I fall right through you.
Hey, you so cool. Hey, you so cool to me. Hey, you so cool.
You really don't have to be.
You really don't have to be. You're so busy making enemies. I hear you. I hear you.
So what's it going to sound like if I just put that early reflections reverb on the lead vocal there?
Touch is like the moon.
You come to the touch when I go to catch you, I fall right through you.
Hey, you so cool. Hey, you so cool to me. Hey, you so cool.
You really don't have to be.
You really don't have to be. You're so busy making enemies. I hear you. 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 I hear you.
All right, this section, I want this to be kind of, loud and powerful. So I've got the guitar channel, at which point here I'm going to pan this hard left and hard right. Okay. What are we doing? Early reflections. Turn that down. So all I'm doing is I'm changing the EQ settings on the guitar track, which is just on the right-hand channel, just to make it a little bit different than what's coming out of the other side, because I don't really want them to be identical. They are identical. In the previous videos, what I showed is I just duplicated the track and we're splitting them out just with a few milliseconds delay to get that kind of a fake stereo sound out of it, to widen things out of it. But I want it to sound even more different, so I'm fucking around with EQ now. Okay, so at this point, I'm settling on a reverb that is also parallel processed with symphonic chorus effect. The symphonic is specialized just to the mixer that's in here. This is basically configured around a Yamaha O2R setup, and it's their own proprietary effect as opposed to just the standard chorus, which is also in here. So it's reverbed in parallel with the symphonic. Right now, everything's still just on basic presets. We'll find out more as I go on with this, if I want to make any adjustments or if they're fine as how they are, if we're just adding the ambience to the track or helping to thicken things up. But in the meantime, I am going to save this as a separate scene. So how will the transition be going from that back to the original settings? we don't really want to go back to the original settings there, do we? Because it's really not needed. In fact, go ahead and back it up past that point. And I'll turn things back on how they were. With that, where is it? Where is it? Early reflections. There we go. All right, back that up a bit, start it again.
I hear you, I hear you. I hear you, I hear you. I hear you, I hear you.
Don't like how much louder it got there. That's going to be out of balance if we work with it that way. So, let's try something. Let's try it again.
I hear you, I hear you. I hear you, I hear you.
That might be better. Let's go ahead and check that out. Set this.
I hear you, I hear you.
I think that's gonna work. It'll be a good start anyway. So once we actually start putting this mix all together, it'll be good to go. We'll be good to go with that. I'm pretty sure it'll be real easy to take care of. At the moment, with the couple of things I've changed, I'm gonna save progress just in case there's any issues, like say the power goes out. Don't want anything like that happening where then it just fucks up everything I've already done. Okay, so this next section here, this is going to be...
You move like a ghost.
Okay, so we need to do a little bit of something here. Kind of a transition out of what we were just in to kind of dialing it back again.
You move like a ghost. You move.
I hear you breathing. I hear you breathing. I hear you breathing. I hear you breathing.
What wonder what it would be like if I put the rotary on that guy.
I hear you breathing. 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 I hear you breathing.
That might be something that I could use. That might work. And then at this point, it goes back to the original setup. Right
Move
now.
like a ghost. You move like a ghost across the room. You move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you move. Ah, you move like a ghost. You move like a ghost across the room. You move like a ghost, but I don't see you. I hear you breathing. I hear you breathing. I hear your bones creaking. 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 I hear your bones creaking.
Okay. I think I got a good idea of what I want to do, how I want to start it. Let's see. How much time have we ran? Running about an hour so far. So at this point, we're going to call it. I'm going to come back with part 6, where we're actually going to put together the more creative aspects of the mix. Hopefully I'll still remember everything, because I'm only doing these every a week or a week and a half or so. I'm not putting it all together right now. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.